Hello, my name is Anna and today I'm going to show you how you can make your very own Baby Yoda or the child. You only need 2 socks and it's a simple pattern. You can find that free pattern in the description down below. Check it out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. You'll need the following supplies. Head on over to funsockcity.com for all your sock needs, including the ones you'll need for this project. Begin by turning your sock wrong side out and turn it so that you can see that backside part of child's face. And mine is kind of hard to tell, but you get the basic idea. There's that top of the head. And then take something and mark where you're going to be sewing. And I'm trying to follow just the curvature of his head, not worrying about the ears at all. And I'm obviously showing you this after the fact that I have already sewn and cut, but I will save you some time by saying make sure your sewing line comes right below that black spot, so curve it over. That way you don't have black in the middle of the head. So I'm going to actually re-sew mine, but hopefully I'll save you some time. And then down here, we're just going to cut it off at this bottom green stripe. So go ahead and sew on your sewing machine on that line or sew by hand. Alright, so I fixed mine and hopefully you did yours just great the first time. And I'm going to cut around that sewing line that I actually want using my fabric scissors. Then turn that right side out and it should look like that. And we're just going to stuff it nice and full. Make sure that there's not any hard bulges. You'll know it's full enough if you can pull these bottom parts together and there's not a lot of wrinkles on this face right here. I think mine's full enough. Make sure you get yours to that point. Once you've reached that full point, get needle and thread ready. I have 2 strands of embroidery floss with a knot on the very end. I like to start on the sides, and you're going to insert it and bring it right back in, and I'm doing this on the inside of the head, and push your needle between those threads that were trailing behind and pull it tight, and that will just lock it into place. Then go to the opposite side and you can just go right in and out and pull that tight. And then you're going to do that perpendicular to the direction you just went. And then go in those spaces that are still remaining, and you'll just do that all the way until it's sufficiently closed. Then go ahead and knot that off and cut off the excess string. Then take the other sock that you're going to be using for his cloak, fold down the top because this is going to be kind of that collar that we see on Baby Yoda. And I'm folding it down till there's about 1 inch left on the inside. Put that onto his head and decide how tall you want yours to be. And I want it about that tall, so I'm going to just cut off right below this point. Then turn it wrong side out and sew this closed with a sewing machine or just by hand. Now take your filler. I'll be using rice. You could use beans, corn, anything that's heavy but on the smaller side, and you're going to put that into the bottom of your sock. This is what's going to make it so that Baby Yoda can stand upright. Now I'm not filling it all the way with the filler. It's about to that top line, but I plan on squishing that down a little bit more. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of stuffing and stuff any remaining bits. Now remember, we're not stuffing this thing all the way full because we're going to have the head on here and then the rest of this will act as the collar. Now I'm just trying out the head in here to see what it looks like. And I like that. So I'm going to put the head there and I'm going to pin everything where I want to sew it. And I'm not pinning all the way around, I'm just pinning in 4 spots, front and back and then each side. Now I'm using white thread because I don't have cream, but if you have cream that would probably be a great option. And I'm starting under the ear because we're going to be attaching some ears, so that will help hide anything if it shows. And I'm going to kind of go under where the line of the collar will be, and I'm going in and out and then locking my thread into place by putting it between the trailing threads. And then I'll bring this sweater, his coat, back up there. I'll take this needle out actually. Grab the collar with the thread, then go right back to the head. And you'll just do that back and forth. And I like to do a few weaves and then pull it tight. Don't pull way tight that it gets all bunched up. We're just trying to hold this in place. And you'll just continue that same pattern all the way around. And I like to check as I'm going around that everything is staying in line with where I want it. So just keep track of that as you go. All right, and then once you get all the way back to the end, you're just gonna knot it off right under the edge of the collar. Push that needle in right where you knotted it off and push it out somewhere away from that spot and push it out, pull it tight and cut it off, and that should just suck everything right in. So take that remaining sock that you had and we're gonna cut off the heel and the toe. Get as much of it as possible, and if you get any black, we'll just cut that off. And carefully do that so that you can keep as much of the green as possible. And now with the toe, it has that ribbing right there, like all socks do on the top. So pull that ribbing to the point where it's even with this bottom side without the ribbing. Try to make that ribbing equal with that, because we're gonna just cut off everything beyond that. And these should be about the same size. This one's a tad longer. Probably wouldn't be noticed, but just in case, I'm going to cut that off. Plug in your glue gun so it can heat up, and then cut out the inner ear pieces using felt that's kind of a pinkish, tannish color. Baby Yoda's ears are really floppy, and so these are perfect for that because they kind of fold over. We're going to use that to our benefit. So I had to decide which one I wanted to use on which ear, because you want it to have a fold over at that initial part and not so much out here. And I'm bringing that inner ear further towards the inside, and so they're going to go on the child like this. But for now, we're gonna glue these into place first. Make sure that ear is opened up so that fold can come down over it and not get stuck under the glue. And do the same thing on the other side. Now you can glue these into place or sew them into place. Because this is just meant to sit, I'll be gluing mine. I'm doing that by bringing back this part right here, putting glue on that back side of the felt and that front side of the green, and I'm just going to place it right there on the side of the head and let that cool all the way. Make sure those are evenly placed on height-wise. Let everything cool completely. To create the arms, turn your sock wrong side out and figure out how long you want your arms to be. And you're gonna mark it a little bit longer. So from about there to about there. And I'm going to mark my sewing line, and I'm gonna sew on this bottom part and up here. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Do it the same size. And again, leave that part open. Do that by hand or with your sewing machine. Once you have those sewn, go ahead and cut around, making sure not to cut on any of your seams. And then you can just cut right across that top, and that's going to create the opening. And now you can throw this one away. Turn both of them right side out. And then we're just going to do some light stuffing in there. Just enough to give it a little bit of shape. And I'm not going to stuff it all the way to the top because I am going to attach it up here near the head. And I don't want it to create a lot of bulge on that neck. Same thing with this side. So now go ahead and move that out of the way, and we're just going to tack these into place. And it doesn't have to be beautiful at all because it is going to be covered. So if you want your arm in a particular direction, one way over the other, make sure you figure that out, and then just knot your thread into place as we did the other times. So then just tack it into place. Now I'm going to bring this collar down on this side and just tack that into place over the top of it so that it stays in place. And then go ahead and knot it off underneath and repeat that same process on the other side. Then I took just a little bit of thread and tacked this collar down so it won't come up. And remember, we already tucked it on the sides up a little bit higher, but I just wanted to bring it down a little bit, and on the back too. Then cut out the hands using the template in the pattern, and then I just glued those onto place, kind of on the back side so that it looks like it's coming straight down from the arms. Let everything cool, and then you're all set. Are you making this for yourself or for someone else who loves Baby Yoda? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.